Welcome to Novelize This, a conversation about books that are adapted from movies, television, and more. I'm Mark.
And I'm Chris.
And we have a spooky one for you.
Just in time for Halloween, roughly when we're recording this.
Yeah, let's hope I get it edited in time. That's the scariest part.
I'm not going to say what year it is, so that way there's not any pressure on Mark. Mark, do you want to tell us about the book that you have inflicted upon me?
I have given you the gift of Gooflumps. I didn't hiccup just then when I was talking about R.L. Stine's Goosebumps. I mean the 1995 parody by R.U. Slime. I don't think that's his real name, Chris.
I think I spent too much effort trying to figure out what his real name was.
As did I.
Was unsuccessful.
There's 2 volumes of Gooflumps.
Gooflumps.
I'm gonna say that wrong every time.
Very weird to say out loud.
Gooflumps, published by Random House, big competitor for Scholastic, that of course produces all the Goosebumps books. They're still being published, and they're still fucking great, and I won't hear otherwise.
Now, okay, so I think that's going to be like our first main division is that.
Right.
So this idea of parodying Goosebumps is bizarre to me. I haven't read Goosebumps since at least sometime in high school.
And I haven't read it since at least Tuesday.
Yeah, right?
Maybe Monday.
So you're knee deep into Goosebumps at this point. I'm pretty removed from it. And I distinctly remember Goosebumps mostly just being, yo, you did not see The Twilight Zone as a kid. So...
You think this is original.
Yeah, I mean, it really is. And that, like, it was only much later in my life I was watching The Twilight Zone and being like, oh, I see what happened here. And that seems legit, right? No story is truly original. They're updated. They're made kid-friendly. But then you take this idea of a kid-friendly horror book and you parody it.
Yeah.
And I don't think it was successful in that.
Well... I think we'll definitely disagree about that.
Yeah, I mean, agree to disagree.
There are some things about this book that I absolutely abhor. Mainly the conceit. So this volume we read is called Eat, Cheese, and Barf.
Right off the bat, not great.
Yeah. That's a play off of Say Cheese and Die.
So I thought it was a play off of Eat Shit and Die, which I thought was a really interesting take for a kid's parody horror book.
In all these years, I never thought about that, but that's hilarious. So this one, even though the title is a take on the camera book, the story is absolutely a parody of the Monster Blood series within the Goosebumps series. I think there's 4 in the original 62.
You know, you return to that well as long as you can draw water, right?
Well, there's some original, I think it's Monster Blood 2. Basically, the blood makes copies of the bully, and the book ends with the good guy surrounded by like 100 bullies who are going to kick the shit out of him. That's a dark ending for a middle schooler. R.L. Stine's badass.
And that's where I feel the real connection with Twilight Zone. It's that final, oh no, you're not in the clear, oh no, this is still going on. Yeah. Which I think is why Goosebumps persists. R.U. Slime, however, decided 2 books is what we're doing, and that's it.
Yeah, thank God, because could you really handle more? The first book is Stay Out of the Bathroom, which I'm debating if I'm going to get there. This book was gross enough at times for my taste.
And that's where I realized that I wasn't going to enjoy this book because, you know, as the title implies, barfing plays a staggering role in this book. And the descriptions of nausea, bile, all these things, which would have absolutely delighted me as like a middle school kid with that kind of gross out humor.
Yeah, back when I liked Ren and Stimpy and...
Right. This felt like a time capsule for the 90s. Oh boy. it gets real graphic real fast.
And I did not expect that the gross out stuff would not just be there for titillation, but also it plays a key role in the plot.
Yeah.
Especially at the end.
And the truth is, we'll get there pretty quickly because this book is a staggering 136 pages.
Yes. I think that's a great place for me to lead into the similarities between Goosebumps and Gooflumps, just on the surface level. It is the same length. It's got the same short chapter style. Every chapter has a cliffhanger, most of which are fake outs.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's a lot of screaming, which is written out.
The one joke I legitimately laughed at in the entire book involves how much screaming there is.
You can sure scream a lot.
Well, that's one of the few things
So
that I do really remember. I was like, that was actually a good one. I wish that there was more like that.
Yeah. A major similarity between the two books is the cover artist. This cover artist did a bunch of books back in, he does more like, I guess you would call it classical painting nowadays, a lot of religious themes and so forth, very adult stuff, adult in the sense just like being for a grown-up audience. But he did a lot of kids books back in the day, including R.L. Stein books. He did a lot of Ghosts of Fear Street, which is the middle grade version of Fear Street. So that got me thinking, like, some of these similarities, the language, all these devices, I started wondering, is this just R.L. Stein? Is this R.L. Stein doing a parody of his own? Because, I don't know if you know this, you remember Garbage Pail Kids?
Yeah.
Those gross trading cards from back in the day. I think Art Spiegelman and some other artists did those. Well, R.L. Stein writes the books nowadays. So he's involved in a lot of that. He started out as a comic writer. He had his own magazine called Bananas. So anyway, my point being, like, so the copyright says Robert Hughes. Online, I kept seeing this name, Tom Hughes.
Yep.
I couldn't find a lot of information about this guy. Now, I did as much digging as I could possibly do, and I found a handful of other books by this guy for younger audiences. There's a book called The Web. Just looks fun. So he did similar to what R.L. Stein was doing at the same time. I kind of got to wondering if there was some... Then I found a different Tom Hughes. I'm just, spoiler alert, he's not the same guy. He does a lot of food history, not only writing, but some other projects. Him and his wife do like the food museum online.
Yeah, that's the other thing I found.
I called them to see,
and
I was like, is this you? And they were both like, we write real books. They were actually very, very nice, but they're like, absolutely not us.
Do I look like the kind of person that would write a book about throwing up?
Well, that's the thing. Some of their books are about like plants and stuff that help your digestion. I had a whole conspiracy theory going before I actually got them on the phone.
Do you want to start going through the plot of Eat Cheese and Barf?
Yeah, why wait? Let's dive into the cheese.
Okay, my first major point of why I don't think this works very well as a parody. The names are not obvious parodies or funny in any way. Case in point, our hero, Billy Fudder.
Is that just supposed to be like an udder?
It's supposed to be like an udder, that's all I got.
But with an F.
Billy and his family, with his sister, Jennifer Fudder, just gonna let that hang, and their mother and father, who I swear they might have had names and I couldn't find them.
Yeah, I don't remember.
And
I remember appreciating the dad because he was kind of like a prankster, and the mom had moments where she was just smiling and kind of nice, whereas the parents in a lot of actual Goosebumps books are dicks.
Yeah.
Or absent. But they're not real characters.
Right, so the Fudders have decided to move to Bledsoe, New York. And again, I was trying to think, like, Bledsoe is a real name. I don't get it, but that's okay.
There's no other real names in this book.
And that they have inherited Breakwind Farm. So go ahead, if you've got the juvenile humor bingo board set up, fart jokes should be the free space in the middle. They arrive. Jennifer is mad because she had to leave her boyfriend behind.
And because she's a teenager.
Right.
That is a well that Slime goes to over and over. She's got the zits. She's got the attitude. She wants her independence and all these tropes.
I will admit, I did appreciate non-ironically referring to someone as a pizza face. That is old enough that I went, oh yeah, we used to call people pizza face.
And it fits in with the cheese. And
this town is run by IMP.
International
Milk Products.
Milk Products, yeah. So I don't understand why IMP, unless it's like the guy who runs the company. Is he short in stature?
Jonathan Kirtle? I interpret it as he loomed suddenly, which I usually kind of ascribe to a taller person. Character descriptions don't really happen in this book. It is just, here is a name, here is their thing, moving on.
Yeah, they all have a quirk.
Right.
Some of them are more offensive than others.
To that point, Billy's quirk is that he has such a revulsion, and I couldn't figure out if it was actually an allergy because they used the wrong words.
He's lactose intolerant.
Right.
But did they not know about that in the 90s?
I don't know. They talk about enzymes later. If he drinks milk, eats any dairy product whatsoever, he violently throws up. I think it's more psychological than anything else.
Yeah, because even if he smells it,
yeah,
if it's very close to his nose, he just loses his lunch.
Yeah.
He just heaves it all up. He spews it.
He blows chunks.
Barforama.
Yeah. We are introduced to the town. Well, okay, by introduced, there's one named location, the Muendu, on Kirtle Street. To start us off, there is a recurring gag, if you will, of Billy stepping in cow pies.
Yeah.
I grew up around cows. And it's not the end of the world. And it doesn't really smell that bad.
Aren't they usually dried out anyway?
Unless they're fresh. They move to the farm. Their grandfather, who was Theo Futter, he has passed away, left them the farm. They've inherited it. They meet their grandfather's, essentially, farmhand, who only has one arm and is named...
His name?
Armand.
Yeah.
Oh, and there's a cow named Martha. It turns out she is vital to the farm.
My favorite character. So we have our major players. There's also some bully. What's his name? Jonathan or some shit? Who cares?
No, that's Jerry. Jerry Kirtle.
In, does he? Jerry.
Yeah, he's there for the obligatory you have to have a bully. And also for Jennifer to pine after, immediately. Because not only is she a pimple-faced, annoying teenage sister, she is also boy crazy. So that way we can really, really just loathe her as a character.
And also just strikes fear into a father's heart.
Hopefully you won't have to deal with anything else that happens in this book. Armand is, in true Goosebumps, the Twilight Zone fashion, sketchy as hell for no real reason. He's just sketchy as hell.
At times he's really nice to the kids, and then he just switches.
Yep.
Is he trying to fool them? He doesn't even seem smart enough to fool these little kids, so I don't know. Yeah,
exactly. Where it's I don't know what is happening here, and I don't see the obvious joke. So maybe I'm the idiot for putting too much on this. One of the other things that did make me laugh, you mentioned this before, was the fake-out cliffhanger endings of each chapter. They almost always either end or begin with a scream.
Lots of A's.
Billy goes into town, and he meets his new friend, Fanny rennet. My 4-H training kicked in, and I remember rennet being a thing. Essentially, it's an enzyme that's used to make cheese.
Helps with digestion, right?
Yes. Rennet is actually used to help break down lactose, and it allows for the curdling of milk into cheese. And used to be removed from the stomach lining of young calves that were still drinking milk. And nowadays we don't do that anymore. There's an artificial rennet that is used in 99.9% of all cheese production. Nobody wants to eat cheese if it involves killing baby calves to make it happen.
I gave up that habit a long time ago.
I'll leave those baby calves alone.
This is why Slime deserved the Pin Faulkner, and it's a travesty.
It's just... This is pretty much the first half of the book, by the way.
Yeah, it goes along really quickly.
Yeah.
Which I liked. I mean, so we're knocking the book a lot, and it deserves it. But I will say, it felt enough like an actual Goosebumps for me. Like, the prose were solid enough. The jokes were really annoying. But I noticed that a lot of the really over-the-top, gross-out humor started to fade into the background a little toward the middle.
Yeah.
It comes up, get it, from time to time for plot purposes, which I mentioned earlier. Like, so I, being someone who likes Goosebumps, I was actually kind of like, okay, I want to see where...
I'm on board. I bought my ticket. Let's see where this train rolls.
Yeah. So Billy finds in the basement of his new house this mysterious book. Inside, it's just, I'm not clear. There's one sentence to read in this book, and that's all that matters. And everything else is diagrams or whatever.
Yeah.
And I couldn't tell if that was a joke. If it's just like, you know how in stories they open up a book and they just happen to, out of this huge ass book, they happen to find the one sentence they need. That's what I thought the joke was, but maybe that's giving Slime too much credit.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd go that far. You know, just, of course, there's a mystery diary. Yeah. Of course, they're told, you know, explicitly, keep this away from the Curdles who are trying to buy up the whole town and control everything. And it turns out that is when they meet Jonathan Curdle. And I think that this is such a bizarre description, and almost, again, we're moving towards like the extremes that allow for humor. He was even uglier in person. His head was all splotchy, and his hands were all bony and veiny with uncut yellow nails. And then that's it. End of, you know, he didn't have a cow pattern like liver spot on his hand, or you know, there again, you think that there should be more. And it isn't. He's just an ugly old man.
Yeah, definitely a lot of missed opportunities for humor in here.
Yeah.
I did imagine this guy as being like the tall man from the Phantasm movies.
Sure. Yeah, I imagined him as kind of tall but curled over, almost hunched, just because
almost
that's...
curdled.
That's not what curdling means, but okay.
Like rennet, right? Because, right? Cause,
yeah, like rennet, yeah.
Yeah, and farts.
Yes.
Do you want me to belch the alphabet, Chris?
No, please, God, no.
I'll do what I have to do.
Oh, God.
If it puts a book in your fucking hand, I'll do it, Chris.
I already read this book. I don't need to be coerced further. You've brutalized our years of friendship to make me read a book about throwing up. Like, ugh. On that happy note, we meet Jerry Curdle, who is Jonathan's nephew, because I suppose the idea is that Jonathan couldn't actually have a wife and have kids of his own because he's so ugly. So we have to establish, you know, Donald Duck style Huey, Dewey, and Louie. And, of course, Jennifer immediately swoons for him. There's a big dance coming up. The first thing that popped in my head is that it's supposed to be summertime. Dances don't normally happen in summertime for country dances. Those are almost always Harvest Festival things.
I was thinking about Carrie.
Okay, right? Another reference, missed opportunity.
Yeah. God, we should write this.
We should rewrite.
Do you want to write an RU slang? We could... just publish under it's a pseudonym, right? So it's like V.C. Andrews probably has like a million other people writing under that name. And you and we can be the next Slimes. We can be the Slime Brothers.
Okay, but...
Don't let this opportunity slip between our fingers like so much puke.
So, at about this point, about a third of the way into the book, the plot actually starts. We find great-grandpapa Theo Futter's mysterious cheese.
The cheese brain.
Right. So they think it's a brain. They find that the lid is clamped down. They, for whatever reason, decide that they have to hide it because they're told the Curdles, they can't find out about this.
Well, let's don't gloss over the detail of them touching it. So, you know, like, I could imagine some kids, they find a gross thing and they're like, let's get a stick and poke at it. But Fanny is like, Yeah, stick my fucking hand in that thing.
Yes.
I want that all over me. What kid even in the 90s? It's not a thing kids do.
So, Mark, you and I were both young people in the 90s, all right? You know, we didn't have the internet, and I only had 4 channels on the TV. I actually will go to bat here and say, no, yeah, I'd poke it.
With a stick, or would you shove your whole fucking finger in
I'd start
there?
with a stick, and then I'd probably be like...
Not Fanny!
Yeah, you know, at least like, yo, what do you give me if I do this? Huh? What do you give me? Give me $5? Give me $1?
What would you do if you pulled your finger out and it came after you? If it tried to reach out and get you back?
Now, at this point, we are so fully into horror tropes, I can't get mad at that.
And they were like, this is our pet now.
Yep.
This is our beautiful little cheese brain. I love him.
Spoiler alert, the monster cheese is a monster. When Billy pukes, the enzyme in his stomach burns the cheese.
He's been chugging holy water all day long.
Well, but here's the issue, is that, oh my god, again, getting mad at this book when I shouldn't. If you can drink milk, if you are lactose tolerant, that is because you have an enzyme in your stomach that allows you to break down lactose. Okay, it turns into carbohydrates and sugars. When you don't have that enzyme, that doesn't make you throw up, that turns you into a farty mess. But Fanny, and I forgot to mention this because Fanny has to have her quirk. Her quirk is she can make herself belch, and it is outrageously disgusting smelling, which really makes me think that there is something truly treacherous going on inside of Fanny.
Fanny has months to live. She
At
just
best,
doesn't know it.
yeah. But here's where we get to truly the part of this book where I had to go, I must have misread that. Where they think the cow talks, and that's a fake out because apparently they don't know how voices work, with Armand coming around the corner saying, "What are you kids screaming about?" And so the cheese is in the barn. Armand and Martha are there to loom suddenly. They move the cheese to the barn to keep it safe.
Yeah, they want to make sure that no curdles come to their house looking for family secrets and chance upon this. So, of course, they're going to put it in the broke-ass barn where anyone can enter. There's no locks. Some pieces of wall are missing. Just head on in.
Yeah. So, and again, there's a part of me that's like, is this supposed to be intentionally dumb? Are they, because we're parodying, right?
Yeah.
Like we're playing up the aspect, but they don't. They never crank that dial all the way to 11. Well, speaking of, there's a joke there, but nothing comes of it. They go into town. Billy gets into a fight with Jerry Curdle. He's called a Dorcas, which I also appreciated. Remembering I used to call my brother Dorcas. And then we get quite possibly my favorite character and my favorite character name. Do you want to guess?
Officer Eclair.
That's right. We get an honest to God fucking donut cop joke in this. A joke so plain and so on the nose that even a middle school kid could get it. I actually quite enjoy Officer Eclair.
Yeah, your dad would love this guy, wouldn't he?
And I think that that's actually funny. Not laugh out loud funny, but I did go, I like it. I'm down for that.
I found it disrespectful.
Yeah, and so then we get the classic, hey, are you boys fighting? No, sir. All right, well, I'm just going to take off then.
Every time he leaves, he has an opportunity to go to like a bake sale or some shit.
Yeah. Jerry hauls Billy behind the milk museum. Okay, it's just a museum of milk. Cool, that's nothing. Of course, nothing happens because it's a parody of Goosebumps, and nothing ever actually happens.
At least not until nightfall.
Right. Because we've got only so many characters to have to worry about, so of course Armand and Martha are going to be back. And then it finally gets to a point where now night has fallen. The cheese. Oh, the cheese is growing. The lid has somehow been removed. This is bad stuff. Oh no, what's going to happen?
It gets bigger, right?
It does, but that's about it.
It's like almost overflowing the pot, which is directly from Monster Blood.
Yes!
That's a point in Monster Blood that actually happens much sooner in Monster Blood, as I recall. So I think the pacing here is a little off, but in Monster Blood, the protagonist is like, oh shit, maybe this isn't okay. But not these fools.
Yeah, they hear a voice. They think that voice is probably Armand, even though all we see is Martha. No, yeah, man. Fucking Martha can just talk. It's fine. She's an experimental cow that was trained to talk.
Don't have a cow, man.
The one thing that kind of made me chuckle is that her lips are described as thin. And I don't think I've ever described cow lips in any way, shape, or form because they don't really have lips the way that a human does. But this is where we get essentially the lore bomb. Great-grandfather used to work for the Curdles. He developed all these crazy things. He made a talking cow so that way it could truly be aware of all the inhumanities being done to it by the commercial dairy industry. And they're told, the cheese, it's dangerous. It should have been destroyed. It wasn't destroyed. You can't let the Curdles get a hold of it. Spoiler alert, the Curdles get a hold of it very, very quickly. Like, so very quickly.
This part of the book reminds me a lot of the Goosebumps book, Stay Out of the Basement, where the other Gooflumps book gets its title from.
Yeah.
Because the dad in that book was fired from his, like, bioengineering company or whatever for his mad experiments. But this is a little bit of a twist where the company, they like evil.
Yeah.
The evil.
Yeah, they're down for it.
More of it.
First, we have to face off against Jerry with a pocket knife. Oh my god, he's got a knife. No, he just wants to cut off a piece of cheese. This is cottage cheese again. It's the cheese that you eat with a spoon. But, of course, we needed to have a knife so we could have another one of our little kid gross out humor bingo card. Jerry, don't cut the cheese, I screamed. Yeah, and so now is when shit goes wild. This is where you actually get one of the things I liked, honest to God body horror.
Yeah.
Like, it actually leans pretty hard into the cheese monster comes alive. It literally consumes Jerry and then takes on his, like, physical form.
And there's a description of seeing his face. He's like trying to press outward within the stomach of this monster. And it's very like Freddy Krueger.
I do want to read this passage because I actually like this. Ah! Now Jerry was screaming too. The cheese trembled in the air above Jerry. He dropped the knife in the piece of cheese. The cheese collapsed on him with a satisfied belch that stank so bad we had to hold our noses. Then the cheese started to move again. It rose up and started to take on a human form. Jerry's face appeared in its midsection for a second. His mouth moved in silent cries for help. Then he vanished. Like, whoa, holy shit.
That's
like,
pretty good.
All right. Okay.
I could imagine being actually scared of that if I was like 10.
Yeah. Kudos, book.
It sounds so dumb, but if you put yourself in that place where you're little, this kind of stops being a parody.
Yeah.
And becomes like a legit scary book for kids.
Yeah. Yeah. And of course, it abandons that very quickly. You know,
it gets back there. I mean,
it does eventually, but we have to mess around for a little bit first. A battle turban makes its presence known. They go hunting for the cheese monster. It turns out it's once again Armand.
My favorite part of that section where it's random wasting our readers' time. Billy's mom gets a job at Imp, working on some advertising for them, and she slowly starts to be kind of brainwashed.
Yeah, a little bit.
And one of the parts that actually legitimately made me laugh out loud was this section when he's trying to talk to his mom about this. And in Goosebumps fashion, the mom is not listening.
Yeah.
And then she's leaving and she says, "Have a cheese day, sweetie."
Yeah.
Billy says, "What did you say?"
Yeah, it's just plot stuff happens.
Yeah.
Until eventually the cheese is rolling into town, baby. It's heading to the dance. Then we switch into parodying other better things. We have a Jaws reference. You have to close down the dairy dance. We can't close down the dairy dance. There's too many people that are going to be there. They confront Jonathan Curdle with Culture 286, the cheese/cottage cheese, and tell him it ate Jerry. And he is so evil that he just kind of laughs it off, like, oh, you scamps.
Yeah, he makes it seem at first like, I don't believe you, you're dumb kids. But then clearly, like, he's into it. And he wants that monster,
Yeah.
He wants to use monster.
It turns out the milk company is super down with Monster Cottage cheese.
What is their end goal?
World domination, clearly.
So dumb.
Yeah, and again, this is the insanity that I need more of this, please. I need the megalomania dairy CEO. That is so stupid. I actually like it.
That kind of goes into Naked Gun territory.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I don't know. Maybe they just thought these, young readers, if they got too much of that, they'd check out because it's too smart for them. But it's not.
Yeah. We finally get to the stage. Of course, has to happen on the stage during the dairy dance.
Mm-hmm.
There is the awful cheese monster. Jonathan Curdle comes up to the top of the stage and promptly gets consumed by the cheese. That, again, actually kicks off a whole lot of shit.
Yeah.
That you have, okay, so the cheese monster comes out. It spits out Jerry. It reabsorbs Jerry. Oh, no. I do not like that. It goes and it attacks Jennifer.
Finally.
Like, it really goes to town on this. This is it. This is the kind of fucked up kind of stuff that you could actually get into. And then it's like, ho, remember, you can throw up on it.
I gotta say, did you see that coming?
I did, because conservation of detail, particularly in short books, you have to plant information so that way it can come back later. And that idea of like, that's weird, your puke made it kind of, it got smaller. It's like, okay, that's how we're killing the monster.
I'm not as smart as you, and I thought that was so good. So good. I was down. I was like, that almost makes all the other stupid, gross out jokes worth it.
Well, now after it sucks in Jennifer, then it sucks in Jonathan Curdle. Somehow the new Jonathan Curdle cheese laughs and says, with this new body, nobody can stop me, especially not a couple of dorky kids. So we're just going full Scooby-Doo bad guy at this point. Then it gets so gross. It really is the description. Like, we're going to need to have a content warning on this episode, I feel like, because I want to read this part, because he can't eat the cheese. He can't bring himself to drink the milk. Like, again, I think this is a psychological thing more than a biological thing. He says, then I got an idea. Fanny, burp as if your life depended on it. Why didn't you just say so? She shouted. Right in my face. It was the worst one yet. It smelled of rotten eggs and spoiled pork and asparagus and cat boxes and sweaty feet and moldy sour cream and all the freshest, steamiest cow pies and all the pastures of Bledsoe. My God. Like, I am wounded after reading that. That is... Oh. And, of course, they have to do it over and over again so that way Billy can keep vomiting onto the monster over and over again.
I just love the idea of some big wigs at Random House just passing this manuscript around like this is fucking gold.
Listen, man, did you make it all the way to fucking chapter 32? Because shit gets wild in chapter 32.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so
it works.
Yeah.
Everyone was back, slimy but back.
Yep.
And then we go back to what I was saying earlier about this dad. He's such a fooler. It turns out he was in on it the whole time. Not like for IMP, but he knew what was going down, and he didn't stop any of it because he knew his son could take care of himself, just like he did when he was that age.
Same thing happened when I was a kid, only then it was sour cream. What?
Oh, man. Basically, every Goosebumps book ends with a plot twist. Every Goosebumps book has like, and you thought you did a good job, but actually, now the beast is just mad, and it's gonna get you. But this book, they see the cheese that's been destroyed, or so it seems. It starts to move. But then it's just this bird this little bird that was eaten at the beginning of the book is finally free. It was the first one eaten and it's the last one out.
Yep.
And I was like, that's kind of beautiful. I was fooled because I knew there had to be a twist ending. And the writer was like, actually, the ending of this disgusting book is this beautiful little bird.
Yeah.
That was great.
Yeah.
The best ending.
I didn't even really consider that there is no twist. That there's just like, no, they did it. And it even ends with, then I knew everything was going to be okay.
Yeah.
And
how great is that?
really play with our expectations of a Goosebumps book, I guess, at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah. This was a read for me. I don't know if I liked it.
I had a blast.
Yeah. Well, and I think the problem is as we said kind of at the top, where I'm too far removed from Goosebumps. I don't know the source material at this point well enough to see what is being parodied versus what is just what the author decided they wanted.
Mm-hmm.
Which is one of the weaknesses of parody, right? You have to be at least somewhat familiar with the original to actually get the joke.
This came out in 1995. That was the perfect timing. Even if you gave this to kids nowadays, it wouldn't hit as hard because although Goosebumps is still popular, new releases come out all the time. It's not the phenomenon it was when we were kids.
Right.
Kids are not going to be as steeped in this material. They're not going to really know it the way that we did. And we're 40 and I shouldn't probably be as familiar with it as I am, but I just, middle grade fiction is my hobby, really. It's like my I don't want to use the word passion because I think it sounds weird, but it is. I love middle grade fiction and I love R.L. Stine, and I have a special place in my heart for him because long before I ever became an avid reader, I would read R.L. Stine without being forced by a teacher. So, yeah, I totally get that. Not only do you need to be familiar with the source material, but also, a lot of this is just not that good at doing its job of being a parody. Like you have said all along the way, it's not committing to the bits.
Yeah.
It wants to be gross, which I don't think in and of itself is much of a jab at Goosebumps, because even though Goosebumps can be gross, a lot of it is just weird, funny, intentionally, but it's not like the Garbage Pail Kids.
Right.
Just, I think maybe the joke there is in the pseudonym. He's making a comment about this corporate literature, right? This just factory produced fiction for kids.
Manufactured, essentially.
Yeah, and Scholastic got a lot of shit, and still does, for not just selling books at these book fairs. They go into schools with these big fairs, and they sell toys.
Right, yeah. Yeah.
Maybe more than, so they get a lot of bad press for that. And maybe Hughes is riffing on that, but it's not really clear, and that's why it fails. Yep. And I love Scholastic books, so eat my shorts.
Well, I was actually going to say, what are you reading right now? What are you reading for pleasure right now in comparison?
Yeah.
You and I are both readers. I think you're more of a reader than I am. I have a tendency to reread books at this point.
What are you reading right now?
So right now, I have decided to jump back into a series that I read as a kid. R.A. Salvatore Drizzt Do'Urden Dark Elf Dungeons and Dragons books, but I decided to do it in the worst way possible. There are over 20 of these books, and I read the first 12 15 years ago. So I decided, well, hey, there's a new set of 3. I'm familiar with the characters. I know the set pieces. I will just jump into this one called Timeless that was published back in 2018. And it's about Drizzt and his relationship with his dad. And I thought, this should be kind of a clean start. It is not a clean start. Holy shit. There are so many characters that I have no idea who they are. And they have buck wild names that are just impossible for me to remember, and so I have a list. But I've been enjoying it. I'm most of the way through it, and I'm looking forward to reading the rest because there is something very fun with old school high fantasy.
Yeah,
and you don't get much more high fantasy than Dungeons and Dragons in my mind. So I've been enjoying it.
That's awesome. I've been reading the new Peter Brown book, The Wild Robot Protects, which is the third in a series. There's a shipment of robots being transported, and it crashes, and one robot survives. It's turned on by some wild animals accidentally. So it has no idea who it is, what it is. All it knows is it's on this island now. There's no humans on the island. It just learns the ways of the animals. By this point in the series, there's definitely a theme of climate change, human-made catastrophes. Yeah. And I just started listening to the Arnold Schwarzenegger audiobook, Be Useful. It's so good. He's just so chill and relatable. He's just down to earth and telling you stuff that you might already know, but in a way you need to hear.
Yeah.
It's really good.
Yeah, I've heard some of Arnold's motivational speaking, and he's a very charismatic speaker. I kind of get why he was governor of California for a while.
Yeah. And there's a section in the book where he talks about getting into politics and his first interactions with established politicians. That is so interesting. He's just like, I didn't know how it worked.
Yeah. Well, cool.
So great. For our next episode, we are going to be dipping into Blackstone Fortress.
Yes.
The 3-volume Warhammer series.
I'm sorry, that's Warhammer 40K as opposed to your regular Warhammer. There is a difference. Oh, you will learn.
Sir.
You will learn.
Huh.
I'm really excited for you to see the grim darkness of the far future.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's excited too.
Yep. It's great.
Our theme song is Was That a Way Message for Me? By 8-Bit Betty. Lots of great music on Spotify, Bandcamp. Check them out. Great. It took us a year and a half, but we're back, baby.
Bye.
How do you spell the word you're saying? Gooseflies? Gooseflies.